Hello, and you have tuned into the Ties That Bind, a family meeting. And I am your host, Paula, and I am your griotist, which is a historian / storyteller in our ancient African country. And I'm going to introduce you to our co-host, Tiffany.
Hi, I'm Tiffany,
James.
and I'm the strategizer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and James.
Hi, I'm James, and I'm known as the Bridge.
Okay, and we're going to get into it today. We're talking. This is the second part of what we started last week. And what's the name of it, Tiffany?
The name of the series has been Code Switching and Surviving in White Corporate America.
Uh-huh.
Today's subtopic is going to be the fight for good hair, led by James.
Right. So it's going to be led by James. And so we're not going to go through a whole lot of fanfare today. So we're going to go straight into James, and then we'll do our thing. James?
Yes, hello, family. I hope everybody is doing well. Today we're going to get on the topic of the fight for good hair. Like Tiffany was saying earlier, we were discussing things like code switching and, of course, surviving in white corporate America, and how people had to change, like literally either physically, internally, change who they are in order to survive in the specific environment that they were in at that time. We all know that, especially as black folks here in America, wherever we go, we have to pretty much change our character from place to place, depending on who you're dealing with at the time. So last episode, I brought up a topic towards the end of the show, is wearing weave considered a form of code switching? And so this is what brings us here today. So I really wanted to get into that. I wanted to share a little bit of history about weaves. I wanted to see exactly where we are now. How do we get to the place that we're in right now when it comes to weave? It's not all bad. It's also not all the way good. But I just want to talk and discuss it. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about a little bit was the history. Now, me doing a little bit of research, and I already knew this, but I also wanted to have some documentation on showing that even in ancient times, when you go back to ancient Egypt, you see that people wore weaves or a type of wig, right? And it was normally during like ceremonies and some type of festival or something like that they would wear these wigs or weaves on their head. But I also want people to know that this wasn't a trend that started here in America. I don't think it was always meant to be a thing like code switching in a sense. I think it was also meant to be a form of celebration in a sense. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to go over that, and I did send a link out to our other hosts and the other co-hosts. I want to know, did you get a chance to watch that link, and what did you think about that?
Which link are you talking about? Because we shared quite a few links.
Yeah, I put the link on the actual page, on our shared page that we have here on the side.
He's talking about
the YouTube video.
From Africa. I think he's talking about Tiffany. I know he's talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, it was even though I had a kind of an understanding that these things that we're doing, they're not really new. It was kind of like to see how far it's come from its original purpose. It's kind of mystifying to me how it went from, like you said, kind of being like, your hair is your crown and your glory. It went from being that to being almost like a mask.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
To a map? Did you say a map?
A mask, like hiding who we as black people really are. Like it's like we're ashamed of our natural curl pattern, so we cover it up with this, straight wavy Hawaiian silky mop on our heads.
Right.
Right.
But I think I don't want to interrupt you. Were you finished or?
Oh, I'm
I don't
finished.
want to interrupt you.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
I'm agreeing with I'm with you on that because I didn't even think about that until you brought it up. That is I didn't have the words for it, but it's gone from having a purpose to just the purpose now is because we have been shamed into what naturally grows out of our hair from the slavery times, and until now we're sort of like going into another era, and but it's still. I remember I'm gonna take it down to myself because I have worn weaves, but it wasn't because I was trying to hide my hair. It was just like I was trying to get another hairstyle, and I needed that to boost it a little bit. And then it got to the point where you would take it out, and then you looked funny, because I didn't realize that it really was taking your hair out. It was thinning your hair,
right.
And so that's why. And then you would put it in a little more. And then I have seen people, and I don't want to call their names because these are personal people. They've been using the weave for so long, and now they've got this thing that they glue their hair in. So now you don't even have to see their roots or anything. And I was watching the show the other night, and the woman had the stuff glued into her hair, and you could see where her edges started, but there was nothing but where, you know how your hair looks, your hair underneath your hair is a little bit lighter?
Like she didn't blend it. She didn't blend the texture and color.
No, her hair was gone. And she was just weaving it into the hair that she had left. So her hair went from being close to the crown on your forehead to way back. And because now, and I'm just like, why are you doing this? What is this? And see what we don't. And I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna leave this because I know James had a point. I'm gonna go back to what James was talking about, because he was talking about the ancient Africans and them wearing weave. Sometimes it was a lot of it. It depends on how much money you had and what class you were of how you wore the weave. And then the higher up, they had horsehair, the straighter hair, and then they had the point where they were braided and they would do stuff like that. But they call this the Orthodox. When they brought us here to this country, we practiced that original religion. And the women, they believed that the hair was, they didn't believe in hair per se, because it would get stuff in it, and you were constantly dealing with it and stuff like that. So the Orthodox people, even now the Orthodox Jewish women, they shave all their hair off and they don wigs, and that's what they did back then. And then it went from there to like, okay, then that's cool, then that's gonna be. And now, then we get to America, they're telling you, you little nappy head, you little this, that, and the other, you little this, and everything was back to your hair color, your hair texture, your skin color, and your body. And now all that stuff that they talked about us for having, well, we know that we know that. So that was to me, even seeing that again, because I remember when I first introduced that in college, we maybe had 4 or 5 black kids in there, and they just swore I was lying. And I had a teacher that told me, I was just like, and the reason that she gave me that chapter is for, in her mind, let me give you the statement that she gave me. And I was just like, you're saying that all this came from Belgium and it came from here, there, and everywhere. I said, but this is the African influence. I said, where are the black people?
Right.
Where are the Africans? There were no black people at that time. And I was just like,
okay.
I just said, she was a teacher. She was our instructor. I was just like, then what did we do? Did we come out of the mud or something? So what are you talking about? And so I'm giving her the what for in front of everybody, and then all the black people got really quiet because I'm acting up, you know.
No, you make other white people feel uncomfortable. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I was just like, I cannot believe you said that. And so I'm telling her, I said, well, we did this, and that. And she says, no, I don't think so. And so when she gave us, and this was her scheme, she's like, I want everyone to take a chapter in the hour. And it was something we were talking about, cultures, and from the book. And then I want you to teach the class on that. So I didn't choose the chapter. She gave it to me. And guess what it was on? It was on the African thing. So she didn't know. We had a house full of books and encyclopedias, and so that's what I did. I went home and I researched and I did everything. I even brought the book with me because you had to cite where you got it from, you know, to make sure that what you did, it was actual and factual.
Right.
And I got up there and I started talking, and everybody's looking at me like, oh, okay, here she goes again. Oh, my goodness gracious. And teacher looking at me like, Then when I started telling her about the Nubians and who they have now, Wonder Woman is this now. What is she supposed to be?
Amazonians.
Yes. They called it something else, and then. It was a whole tribe of women who were in charge, and they had it, and she was looking at me like, and I cited everything what I got it from. I got it from magazines. And she was like with her mouth agape. You know how they do that thing with their bottom lip tucked in and the teeth sticking over. I was just like, okay, what is it? And then now the 4 little black people we had in the class to come to me later. Whisper, I didn't know that. And I was just like, okay, read. Okay. I remember thinking, I just turned into my dad. Read it for yourself. I gave y'all, you know, it's just, and that's why he made us read, and that's why he told us that don't ask me what it means. Go and read it and figure it, and come back and tell me what it means. If you can't say, and you don't, and even now, what they used to do then, they don't do it anymore. But I'm going off the script, but that is what I'm talking about. That's how we got back. That's how we started now. We see, but we still don't see. Like Tiffany said, we're still wearing it as a mask. And so I'm going to turn it back over to you, Jen.
Right. Okay, so speaking of that, because I think knowledge is one of the keys that we definitely need to hold on to and to open the doors that we need to understand why we do certain things. So, you know, coming up, you know, this is behavior that was taught all the way from slavery, right?
Yeah.
Even up to current times. You know, I remember some of the older ladies in my life, whether it was my mom or I don't know if I really seen my grandmother say too much about it. But, you know, she always talk about naps and cocoa buds and, you know, those are BDBs. You know, these are all names for nappy hair. And, you know, and I think,
BDB. He was talking nice to you.
Yep.
You said BDB. He was talking about BDB.
And, you know, these are words that we hear, and you just kind of, when you hear stuff like that, it makes you feel uncomfortable with your hair. So, I mean, with you guys growing up, and I'll start with Tiffany, how did you feel about your own hair coming up, and what were you told about your hair? Because I know recently you've been going natural for how many years now?
8 years now.
8 years now. So, so 8 years now you've been going natural, but before that change of going natural, I mean, just kind of walk me through it. What were you going through as far as your hair was concerned, and what brought you to the place where you're like, okay, I want to go natural?
Okay, so first of all, I really hate the term "go natural" because it's to me, it feels like you're going to a place where you're not already at. So for me, I consider it a return to natural. And maybe it's just semantics, but it just does something to me when I hear some people say "go natural," because I was already natural. What I was doing was unnatural. You know, I digress from that. So One of my earliest memories, one of my earliest hair memories, there's a couple, but this is the one that stands out. This is the one that I still have pain from. So my mom used to take me to this hairdresser. I can't remember his name, but she took me to him for a few years. And there was something, I think he was combing my hair too rough, and he was hurting me, and I was crying. And she was telling him, you don't have to comb her hair so hard. And he was like, no, I do, because she has bad hair. And that has stuck with me until probably until like 10 years ago, maybe even more recent than that I finally was able to let the pain go from that, because I was like 7 or 8. I was little. I was not like a teenager. I was a little kid. And he said that to me, and it's like I could feel the heat on my neck because I was so embarrassed when he said it.
Right.
And I believed that. And, my whole life, my mom, when I was a little girl, like 3, I had a jerry curl. And then from there, my hair was in relaxers. And then when my hair fell out, I had little weave ponytails all the time. And it's like my hair never got past a certain length, like really like past my chin, really. It never got any longer than that. It would always look cute when I got my relaxer. And then 2 weeks later, after the first time I got wet, it would just be a mess.
Right.
But I didn't know any better, because this is just what it was for little black girls. I mean, we had a few girls who maybe when I say a few, I mean like 1 or 2 that had never had a relaxer, and they always had long, pretty hair. But I always thought, and I was always told that it was because they were mixed or they had Indian in them or something like that. Because we grew up, the way we grew up, everything was black and white. Everything was black and white.
Right.
So it was almost like the other races didn't exist. All of our issues, everything went back to black and white. So whenever I saw a little girl that was brown like me with long hair, then it was because she's mixed. She got a white parent or a white grandparent. So I had a lot of issues. I was always uncomfortable about my hair because it always was a mess. I mean, it looked the way it looked. The way that it looked was typical for girls that I went to school with. We were all putting the same crap in our hair, and we were all getting the same result for the most part. So it was very typical, but I always was ashamed of how I looked when it came to my hair. And then as I started getting older and I started doing my hair on my own, then I started buying my own weaves and like making my own weaves, doing what I could to conform to what I was taught was pretty. Right. Which was loose curls or straight hair, or keeping it in braids so that people wouldn't see your BBs, cuckabugs. That's the one I always hear, cuckabugs. It makes my skin crawl to think that people said those things to me. So that's what I did all the way through my 20s. So when that changed for me, I actually deployed to Afghanistan. Everyone knows I'm in the military. And while I was there, first of all, I had a whole suitcase dedicated to just hair products. Because taking care of black hair is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It requires tools. There's equipment. There's chemicals. Like there's all kinds of stuff that's required to try to keep it, somewhat reasonably decent looking.
Straight.
And they were like straight, looking nice. Well, I get there, not realizing the environment that I'm going to be in. The water had so many chemicals in it that you could just smell the chemicals in the water. And within 3 weeks of me being there, most of my hair was gone. It broke off.
Oh my God!
So I was just doing everything that I could. Like I was doing, staying up all night when I should have been sleeping, putting braids in, just so I wouldn't have to be ashamed of the way that I looked.
Right.
And I couldn't wait to get home so that I could, try to recover my hair because it was gone. Like when I left, I had chin length hair. When I got back, I had some patches that were chin length, some patches that were just snap short. Through the time that I was there, our situation kind of improved. We got some better quality water. So I actually did regrow some hair while I was gone, but it still was in terrible shape when I got back. So fast forward, I left in November, so I came back in November. Flash forward to that November coming home. I'm trying to, I'm back in the world now, trying to get my hair to do something, but it was so badly damaged that nothing that I did would make it look nice. Like there was nothing I could do. And literally, I was crying. I was in a fit of desperation. I literally took my husband's clippers and I shaved my entire head.
Oh, wow.
There was no transition. There was no, thought process. I had no idea about people going, quote unquote, going natural. The whole phenomenon was lost on me at that moment. It was just an act of desperation because I was just exasperated with what the damage that had been done to my hair.
Right.
And when I tell you I never felt so free in my life, I kept my head shaved for like 6 months. I wore wigs because I was ashamed of my BBs, and I was ashamed of my cuckabugs, and I was ashamed of my boyish face because I looked just like my brother. So I wore wigs. But underneath that, as soon as I walked through the door, that wig came off, and I threw it in the corner, and I would just rock my bald head at home behind my closed doors.
Right.
And it was very freeing, and I learned so much about how much of my identity was wrapped up in my hair. And I'm usually not this much of a talker, but this is like a subject that I don't really talk about it a lot unless people ask me. But there was a lot of growth that happened. So, I spent 6 months. But the first thing that I noticed, and let me know if I go too long. First thing that I noticed was how terrible the condition of my scalp was. I mean, my scalp, I had like psoriasis, I had bald patches, my scalp was in terrible shape, and you would never know it until you cut your hair, until you shave your head. You don't see how bad the condition was. So that was my first goal, was to just get my scalp healthy. And I spent 6 months just babying my scalp. I kept my hair cut low. I rocked my wigs. And then I went to a school. I think it wasn't drill sergeant school, but it was another school that I had gone to. And I decided, okay, I'm going to let my hair start growing out. And I did. I let it grow out, and I stayed there for, I think, 2 months. So by the time I got done, I had enough hair to put it in some cornrows. I still wore my wigs. I don't think anybody realized that I was bald underneath there. But, I just kind of took my time to relearn my hair. And it was a really rough experience. And it took me a long time to get comfortable. And my husband didn't even know I was bald. When I tell you that.
Oh, wow.
When I say behind closed
living
doors.
A lie. And that made it even more, that made your hair come out even more because that's stress.
Right. And I'll never forget the day that I told him that I had, I was like, I got to tell you something. I want to show you something. And we were out of town, so we were in like a hotel. So I was like, he was like, what? I took my wig off, and he got upset because he was like, what in the world is going on? I'm not a very drastic person, so I don't do stuff, I don't just be doing stuff. And when I do things, it's a little bit more methodical than that. So he was just like, I can't believe you did this. Like, you didn't even talk to me? Like, what happened? Like, what did you do? I'm like, I cut off my hair with your clippers while you were gone. So,
oh, my God.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful journey, and I'm very proud of my hair the way it is now. I'm not uncomfortable with my cuckabugs. I feel them, I put my hand back there and I feel them, and I'm not ashamed of them. I don't care who sees them.
Right.
I will never go back.
Right.
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 I think that's important.
And see, that's you growing into yourself, and see, and you had the ability mentally to say something's wrong and I need to fix this. But see, the women that I have, even some in my family, they will glue into their scalp before they will let you see anything like that. I'm not saying you go out there, you go raggedy. Like you said, you go and you buy a wig, but in the meantime, you start taking care of your hair. Because really that's telling you what it's doing to your hair, it's doing to your body as well. And so a lot of stress, and so I see that as spiritual growth, because you have been able to allow that to put that to the wayside, and then you can grow in other areas. It's just like I had to let Jeffrey go in order to open up myself for other opportunities to go to find another a guy. And I'm looking for specifics. I ain't looking for just any kind, but, you were looking for something specific. You were looking for you. And I love it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think that's real important. Just finally just letting go, because it sounded like it was a huge burden, to try to keep up with all these different hairstyles. I mean, still, I'm sure you have to deal with different hairstyles now, because you have a lot of hair right now that I know that you gotta kind of work your way through and figure out what you want and stuff like that. But it's the fact that that it's yours. You're doing it yourself. Like for me, I've been growing my hair out for the last about 2.5 years now. And for me, I grew my hair out because I would find barbers, and then in this area I would find barbers, and then they would end up. Well, I did it for 2 reasons. One was I would find barbers, and then they end up either too hard to reach, or they end up leaving their shop and going somewhere else that was way too far out the way from me. And I got tired of dealing with that. The second reason I grew out my hair is because this is something that I always wanted to do. I always wanted to grow my hair out. At that time, I just got out of the reserves, and so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm getting a little bit older now. I'm in my 30s. Now it's time for me to really start growing my hair and really seeing what it's like. Because I think some things in your life, at least for me, some things in my life, especially if it's something that you always want to do, you have to give yourself a chance to express that feeling and just to see what it's about.
Right.
And that's what really growing my hair was for me. It was really expressing myself, doing something that I really wanted to do. And I love having my hair now. I really do like it. And
right.
Because
you love yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But even now,
spiritual growth, huh?
Yeah, it is. Even now, especially for people around my age, especially for men around my age, you don't see too much guys really growing their hair. I see a lot more guys that are bald, or really short cuts. So so in some cases it feels uncomfortable because I know people are looking at me, and having locks in your hair, it gives off a certain perception, right?
That the world has said that's what it's supposed to be,
Right. It's a world, but I still know this. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm blind to it or I'm ignorant to what the world thinks about it. I still know this. So I know that people see me in a certain way, but it still feels good to get through all of the, I guess, frustrations of trying to grow my hair, going through different stages, going in and out of what I call ugly stages, when your hair just looks real crazy and there's really nothing that you can do about it. So, but it does take a lot of growth, and it takes a lot of patience, and that's one of the things that it taught me growing my hair out is having a lot of patience.
Right.
That's true. Yeah. And honestly, I think people stare at you because you keep yourself so together. Like you never have a lock out of place. It's obvious you take a lot of pride in it. You take a lot of time, and I think that gets a lot of attention too. So I think that a lot of attention that you get, I'm sure some of that is people, looking at your nonconformity. But I think there's also people who really see the beauty and the amount of work and time that you put into it because it's obvious when you see it. Because it's obvious. It's beautiful. You want to do the Caucasian thing, like, can I touch it?
Yeah, I want everybody to know that she really did that too in the car. Like, okay, I touch your hair. I see what it feels like.
Look, I'm sorry. I'm about to do the Becky thing. Can I please touch your hair?
That's true though. I think when I saw him, because at first, I think the ugly stage was when you were doing them twists. And I'm just like, okay, I sort of like it, but you need to shape it up. It's when I come to Maryland. And but I think that was a stage because it had to be something on the inside of you saying, because you've always wanted to grow your hair out, and then somebody would say, you don't need to do that because what the Caucasian community, let's just be real, are saying about people with locks and with people with, they call them dreads and all that kind of stuff. But when you see these people, they're more comfortable with themselves than the ones who are going to shave their hair every and to get it shaved and shaped up. And, you know, you can shape it up, you can make it look good, but you don't have to try to, I need to put a scarf on my hair so I can get some waves. I want some waves. That's so you can have good hair. You know what I'm saying?
Because you're feeding into that self-hatred.
Yeah, you keep, exactly. And that keeps you
I didn't realize. I was going to say, I didn't realize how much of that I had until I didn't have it anymore. Because, like I said, I didn't. A lot of women now, they transition, you know, they let their relaxed hair grow to a certain length, and then when they cut their hair, then it's not such a drastic change. I didn't have that. It was like noble, this is who you are now. And so there was a lot of really quick adjustments that I had to make, and a lot of realizations that I had to make about myself and my opinions about my hair, my identity, and black women in general, because I had a lot of baggage that was on me that was tied up in my nappy roots. I had a lot of baggage. And it took a long time. Well, no, I'm saying it as a figure of speech. You know, I'm saying it as a figure of speech. Because honestly, my hair's not nappy. It's just really tightly coiled. You know, and I understand that, but at the time, I had the language. I only had the language that I was given.
Yeah, you can do anything with it. But you can say that. But then we had nieces and nephews who had what everybody thought was the perfect hair, and they had issues. You could never, in this society, in this Caucasian society, they don't ever want you to be comfortable. It's the mere fact that you have melanin in your skin, they're going to find something. And I remember, who was it? Madison. She was telling me something, and she had come to Dallas to stay with me. Dad had gone, he was in Iraq or somewhere, and I forget what country, so I'm saying, or somewhere. But I'm saying my whole goal is to say that they were there with me for a summer. And she was going through something, and she said, because, see, my hair is not straight because she has, I call my brother is, and I would tell him this, I'm not telling you something I haven't told him from the beginning. He has the United Nations of the family. He had the Asian child, he had the black child, he had the white child, and not Maddie, what's her name? Oh, my God. She was blonde hair, blue-eyed. You know who I'm talking about. I can't think of her name right now.
You're talking about Allison.
She was Allison. Yeah. Allison was the quintessential white girl in everything. I mean, but she was she never had that hang-up because she grew up around so many different people. And I always tell Kim, you need to keep them like this. Don't let the world decide who is what they are. You know, just this is a blessing. You don't know what this is. But I was talking to Madison, and I don't want to get off to what I was trying to say. And she was just like, well, you know, my hair is not straight, and I can't. I was just like, I said, you have, and she had a head full of beautiful black hair, and I was just like, Madison, you have a head full of beautiful hair. I said, what are you talking about? And she didn't know. And so what I did was, I said, your hair can be straight, it can be curly. I said, and you don't have to do anything to it. I mean, not really. I said, you can do what you want to do with your hair. And so we were talking about it. And so I would always flat iron my hair when I went somewhere because I was trying to be, what do you call it? I was trying to fit into the Caucasian, what they felt was beauty standard. The standard, you know. But I would always flat iron my hair. And sometimes I would braid it up or, you know, I would do whatever. So I flat ironed her hair. I was just like, now, I haven't put chemicals in your hair. I haven't put anything in your hair. I said, now, what are you going to say? I said, what do you think now? I said, you can go from curly to straight without killing and it was just like a whole world change. But she still had that thing, that stigma of being a black girl with curly hair that it curled up. But then when Allie and Zanita came, I remember they came down to Maryland and they stayed with me for a bit. And so we didn't grow up. The Caucasians grew up with their hair just all over their heads. black people don't do that, because I remember my grandmother said, if your hair is loose all over your head, that's where your mind is too. You need to. And so they came over, and I put what do they call it? It was a braid, but it was like what do they call it? Not a cornrow, but it was, they call it whatever they call it. I put 2 on Madison's hair, and I was just like, come on, Zanita. And I'm just like, how am I going to do this? Because her hair was a bone straight. So I sprayed it, and I put, they had the same, I put the 2 same braids in her hair. I said, Allie, come on. What are you going to do? I was just like, you're not going to be walking around here with your hair just loose like this. I said, you're not a grown woman. I said, you're a child. I said, Madison's got her hair done, and Zanita's you're going to do yours too. So I sprayed it down because I knew that it wasn't going to stay. So I sprayed it down with some water. I braided it up, and she would turn into a totally different child. Madison turned into a totally different child. And so they all went where we had to go. We would get in the car. We would go somewhere, and people would look at me, and they were just, because they were saying, Auntie, hey, Aunt Paula, can we do this? And I was just like, and they were just like, that's your aunt? And they're looking at Zanita, and they're looking at Allie, and they're looking at, they knew that probably Madison could possibly be mine. But then you got the blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, and then you got the Asian girl. And I'm just like, oh, my God. But I didn't treat them any different. And that's the way the world, in a perfect world, that's the way it should be, but it's not. But if you don't teach them this thing, and my goal with Tiffany, when Tiffany would come, I stopped. I was just like, I don't want to put this in. I don't want her to think that weave is the way to go. So I started doing little things in her hair, and then she would get the mirror, and she would look at it. Oh, I said, which one? You like that? I said, you want me to do it another way? I like it. I was just like, oh, okay, this is good. But you have to give that to your children. And one person's hair is not going to be the other person's hair. But they you can all make them comfortable in having your hair just loose. That's not. But that's their. That is it's a thing that they hold over you to say that their hair is better hair because they can do X, Y, and Z. But then if you're gonna say that, then I don't get life. So. What do you?
Well, that's not true. Black people can't get life. That's a common misconception.
Have you ever seen a black person with life? Really?
Yeah.
Seriously. Who?
I mean, you want me to give their name? I'm not going to put people.
No, you don't have to give their name. But where were they? Were they living here?
On Earth, yes. Black people get life. They get life.
All right. I mean, at the top of the, when it comes down to it. People, there are cases where people try to make black people feel uncomfortable about their hair, which that is true. But when it boils down to it, if everybody was comfortable about their hair or themselves, you wouldn't have any of that. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I think the main
goal.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're trying to say. Your main goal was to help everybody be comfortable with themselves, and on top of that, be comfortable with each other and their differences that they clearly have, but they might not understand, because they're so young. But they know that there's a difference, though,
Exactly. And then you'll have people around you who will make that change. But if you give them the answers that they need to have, then they'll have something back for you. I remember they would always say, oh, you're such a pretty girl. You have such beautiful hair. You so this, and I'm just like, and I can read too. I can spell, and I can do it's just more to me than you keep talking about my freaking hair. But it was, and I'm not telling you, they said it was good. I didn't think it was no good hair. And I watched it one time. That's how I knew it wasn't good hair. But I watched it, and I got tired of combing it, and I was just like, oh, I'll just lay down, and I'll get up in the morning, and I'll do what I need to do. And it was not. That didn't happen. I went to get that comb, and I couldn't get, because my hair was very, very thick. it was very, very long, but it was very, very thick, and then you go lay on it, and then it's getting tangled up, and it's doing all this stuff. And my mom was, and you all don't remember, but my mother used to be in the hospital all the time. I remember one time my mom went to the hospital, and she was in there for like a year, and so we had to, and we'll talk about that in another subject, because we need to talk about that, because this last about her life as before she passed, it was. I don't want to talk about that because that's a long story. But I remember if I got it wet, okay, I could comb it. I know that now, and I remember when my time when I changed from going natural, because I wanted to be what the other people had too, because my mom was forever. She was saying, "No, you don't want to do a relaxer." I'm just like, "Yeah, I want to do a relaxer. I want because I want my hair to be straight." It was not doing nothing but taking your hair out. And so when I got on my own, and I had to go, and it was sort of like the story of James, and they would say, "Oh, okay, we're gonna put a relaxer in there." I said, "No," I said, "What you need to do is just to wash it, and then we'll go from there and then see what we need to do with it." But they would throw the relaxer in there, and they would never, and I'm just like, this is too long. This is burning, and you can take this out, And it got to the point that I had cut my hair because I would rub my hand through my hair, and it was like my hand was a razor blade. That my hair.
I had a lot of that.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, my God. So I went there, and I told the girl, I said, I just want you to cut it off. Just before I came to Maryland, you remember when I had my hair that short, James? When I came, I had cut it all off. And then I got back into because it was so short, I wasn't accustomed to the natural thing. And then I was working in corporate America, and I was just like, so I went. And after it grew out, it started to get a little kinky, a little nappy. We can call it nappy. And so I go back but they didn't know what they were doing. I'm just like, you don't have to relax my hair. I said, but they would always throw something in it. Huh? Go ahead.
Yeah, I always had issues with that. That's why I stopped going to beauticians, because it's like it's almost like they resented my natural hair. It's like they were either unnecessarily rough, or they were trying to throw some chemicals in it, or put in too much heat, and it was it was a nightmare. And that's when I stopped letting people put their hands in my head.
And you have to do that, and you really, because you don't know what people are thinking or feeling. And I remember when I did that washing thing and went to sleep on it. And I woke up, and my dad gave me that look, and he was just like, where you going, baby? I'm going outside. I'm going to play. Really? What you going to do with your hair? And I'm just like, and then I looked at him, because I turned, because it was something changed in his voice, and I turned to look at him, and he was looking at me like, this poor child. And I said, he said, what you going to do with your hair? And I was just like, and I knew that I was jacked up at that point. And I was just like, I guess I'll pull it in a ponytail. He said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call your Aunt Rose, and I'm going to send you down there for her to and for people who don't know what we did, what the white people did, they literally put an iron to their hair to do, because they would go and get it curled, and then to get it straight, they literally put because the curls gave them more body. And so, but we went down there, and Rose, oh my God, and I'm tender-headed, and for those who don't know what that means, black people do, I was very sensitive. My scalp was very sensitive. And Rose slapped that grease up in my head, and she threw that hot comb in there. I was just like, oh my God! I was like, ooh, that's the girl.
I said I could hear it popping. I could hear the grease popping.
Yes, and I was like, she's like, girl, that's not this hot comb. I was like, Rose, you burning me. That's not this straight iron. It's that grease. It's the. She said it was. I was like, no,
either way, I just understood that. My mom used to do that to me, and I'm like, it doesn't matter if it's the hot comb or the grease. It's still 4,000 degrees. It's hot.
Right.
Exactly. And oh my God, I was just like, and I got home, and I was just like, Daddy was, and he smiled, and I was just like, okay. So at that point, the burns didn't feel so bad, and I think I went and I, what did I do? Because she straightened it. Did I put rollers in there? I did something. She straightened it, and she left it down. My mom didn't do that. So I was just like, I was feeling like a grown-up. I thought I went to school the next day because I had a head full of hair. And I've never worn it down. My mom would always braid the top and put it in a ponytail and braid it. And then she would braid the bottom, put it in a ponytail. And then she would wrap the ponytails around each other. So you never knew nobody never knew what my hair was like. So they were just like, Is that a wig? Is that a weave? And I'm just like, no. And then they started, and then the white people wanted to put your hands in the head, and I didn't care at that point, because they just wanted to feel it. And I'm just like, and the black people were like, oh, you think you're white, you Oreo, you this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, oh my God. It was just like, it was a nightmare, but our hair is something, it ain't nothing to play with. And you never heard about people washing people's feet with their hair till they got to the Greek side of the Bible, and all of a sudden they were talking about the white people. That they took the black people out of the Old Testament because you knew that's what they were talking about, whether you wanted to believe it or not. And then you wanted to be that, because that has to be, and then they're telling you that you're this, that, and the other, but it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare of you trying to, because all my friends were white as it was, because the white people would take you as you were. Let me call them Caucasians, because to me, when you say white, you're talking about different people when you say white. But my Caucasian friends would take me as I was. They weren't trying to make you better. They weren't trying to make you worse. However you came, that's what you were.
So let's talk. Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. Because it's almost like, who are you trying to impress when it comes down to it? Because and I experienced the same things as you experienced. I actually experienced more hatred from black people in the way that I wear my hair, right, than I experienced it from, let's say, Caucasians. It's going to stay with the same time. From Caucasians, right? So, you know what I'm saying? So who are, when it comes down to who are we trying to impress, and why is it that when we're trying to develop ourselves, especially within the black community, when it comes to our hair or trying to renaturalize ourselves with our hair, and why do we get so much kickback? Because I know as far as
I have an opinion on this. So for me, and I hope you got your entire question out, but for me, and I don't like to think so narrow as just black and white, because the world is bigger than that, especially nowadays.
Yes.
I think that other nationalities, for them now, it's just a curiosity, and they don't really have enough of an understanding to have an opinion one way or another. I mean, they may think it's quote-unquote professional or quote-unquote unprofessional, but that's kind of the limit, because they don't even have the language to talk about it with us.
Right.
And at the same time, we are striving to fit into this mold that they told us is quote-unquote acceptable, but at the end of the day, we are each other's toughest critics.
Yes.
Right.
You will, no matter what I do with my hair, I go to work, the other people will be curious about it, but it's the black women who are going to be judging me because of what I've done or didn't do.
Exactly. But they're not judging your appearance. They're judging they'll say, who does she think she is? And how do you know? You don't know what I'm thinking, because guess what? You're not in my head. But it's all about, and going back to James' question, I mean, not that you did, that got off the question, but going back to thinking about that, it's a lot of it is because they have not accepted themselves. It's a slavery. It's a slavery here, everybody. But then when you have the audacity, and see, we grew up a little bit different than most people, and I have to say, I have to continue to say that, and people are going to look at us differently because we had a different mentality. And so then they're going to think that we thought that we were one thing when we were something else, and it wasn't that. So
right, I have to agree with you on that.
Yeah. And so you have to
agree with
continue. Huh?
No, I'll let you finish up, but I do have to say something. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, because Al, you know me.
Okay, all right. So, but yeah, I have to agree with you on that because I think this goes all across the board. Usually, if you have quote haters end quote, right, it's because you are showing characteristics either they wish they had or something that they wish they had enough courage to do themselves.
Right.
So in order to make themselves feel better about their situation, they'll talk trash about you and try to get you to feel how they actually feel at that moment.
Right.
Does that make sense?
But they don't just go at you by themselves. They try to get everybody else on board to go against you because their whole goal is to break you down.
Yeah, of course, because even feeling like that is a weak characteristic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
When you're just hating on somebody for something else they're doing, then of course they're gonna try to get more people to kind of justify what they're saying, and of course they're gonna get people who are just like them. You know what I'm saying? Not willing to take those steps. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy. It's really easy to talk trash about somebody else. Right. It's harder to actually go through the pain, right, and go through the suffering, and then finally achieving the goals that you want. You know what I'm saying? That takes work.
Right.
Especially when it comes to hair.
Exactly.
So yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Totally agree with you.
Yeah. And I think we got go ahead. I'm just gonna. We have 15 minutes. I just wanted to say that so people won't think we're trying to cut and we're trying to shorten it. And I know you guys have to go to work in the morning, but this is something that we need to, because it goes from one thing to the next, and it's because we are uncomfortable with ourselves that we are, even now it's still, we're trying to I'll don a Spanx because I don't like stuff jiggling. I will don a Spanx, so help me God, if I have to. But I'm not trying to reshape my body. I'm not sure, but we've gotten to the point that we're trying to reshape what God has given us, trying to take the booty away, trying to take the big lips away, trying to take the curly hair away. And then we're going to have to, and the point of us doing this, and it's a bone of contention because people are still going through what I'm going through right now. I didn't know that we still had a colorization issue.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
yeah. I'm just like, really? At 2, you still doing this? I mean, get out of here. You are no different than anybody else, and you're not. What are you talking about? But we have to, and it's something that it's something on the inside of us, and it's because we don't see ourselves on television. We don't see ourselves. We don't have somebody around us to show us a different way of living that we can be better.
That's so important.
Yes, it's very, very important.
Imagery is very important, and when you don't see yourself reflected, it's easy to feel like you don't belong, like you feel out of place because you don't see yourself. I mean, even to this day, now you see, natural-haired women more than before, but even still, when you see the quote-unquote natural-haired women, there's people who naturally have loose curls. You don't see, the women who are dark-skinned with kinky hair. You don't see that. Except they'll allow 1 or 2. Like Lupita Nyong'o is, she's been glorified. She's a great actress. I don't want to take it away from her. But right now she's their one. She's the one that's allowed right now. But you don't see much more than that.
Yeah, and that kind of gets onto my oh, sorry, go ahead.
I know. She said somebody, and I missed the person that she was talking about.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of brings me to my next topic. Like when it comes to imagery, and when you do see black folks on TV, it's always black folks. Not even nowadays, they black folks that are walking around here unnatural. They have these long blonde wigs. Like I say music videos specifically because this is mostly where I see it, and I know this is what really attracts the younger crowd is music. So you see these women now that have long hair. They're getting all these injections, like butt injections, lip injections, even like Little Kim, who I thought was a very, very beautiful woman. Getting all this.
And now she doesn't even look like a human being.
Yeah. Right.
She looks she looks more like a Muppet than a person at this point. And I'm not teasing.
Exactly.
I'm not teasing, but it's her look is so extreme that it's like outside of the realm of what looks human to me.
Right.
And
I'm just like, what are you trying to be? And I think she thinks it's okay. And then we got.
Well, I mean, to them, especially in this industry, this is what they're told is this is what beauty is. You know what I'm saying? So in order to keep up and to maintain, and especially as a woman, when you hit a certain age, you believe that you have to continue to look like you did in your 20s, which that's not possible. You know what I'm saying? You have to grow, you have to mature, you don't have to hold on. You can still look beautiful even as an older woman. There's a lot of beautiful older women, that are still in the industry, and kept themselves or renaturalized themselves or whatever, and still look good doing that. You don't have to do I just want people to know you don't have to take these extremes to look beautiful. And the fact is, if you're doing it for like a guy or something like that, you think men care. Most men do not care at the end of the day. We do not care.
Really,
you know what I'm saying?
Rather you have a little pooch because they like that. They rather you have boobs. They like that. They rather you. It's all about how you carry yourself. They're looking at that.
Look.
They're looking at the way I see it. But you're right, James. You're the one that needs to be talking about that, not me, though.
Yeah, I mean, every guy has their own thing. Everybody likes what they like. So I mean, some guys like skinny girls, some guys like bigger women. Some guys like more athletic women. It's all about their preference. But these high standards that you put yourself through is really not necessary. It's really impossible standards for the most part. But it's really not necessary, especially if you're trying to keep up with some of the guys. You're hoping I hope the guys will look like how I look.
Well,
and it's really huh.
I was gonna say when you talk about that image that you see in black pop culture. A lot of that is necessary for the type of men they're trying to get, because a lot of these women, and I'm generalizing, okay, this is not 100%, okay, this is just me generalizing. A lot of these women are trying to attain a lifestyle. They're not trying to go out there. Their job is to go out there and find a man that's making the amount of money that's going to allow them to keep living their lifestyle. So there is a standard of beauty that exists in that realm, and unfortunately for the rest of us, that's what we see in the news media. That's what we see on television.
So you about to set it off, Tiffany. You about to set it off. You about to pull some strings out here.
That's what it is. I mean, these people are trying to attain a lifestyle. That is their job. Their job is to try to look completely flawless, like they step off of the page of a magazine, so that they don't have to actually go out there and earn a wage. Their job is being kept. And unfortunately, that's who we see. Those are the images that we see. We don't see any affirming images of normal-looking women, regular-looking women. It's getting to the point now that when you see a regular face, it's like, what's wrong with that regular-looking face? Because you're so used to seeing the Kardashians and the, you name the person off of television that you see today. You're so used to seeing that becomes, in our opinion, the norm.
Right.
Right, but I mean, whose fault is that really? I mean, I know there is an industry that's pushing some of this narrative that's out there, right? But let's just say, you know what I'm saying, if all women decided to finally be who they want to be, you know what I'm saying, who really has control of that? Because if you decided to be like, okay, you know what, I'm not going to try to live up to these fullest standards anymore. I'm just going to be who I want to be. And if all women decide to do that at once, the whole industry would change, because it's the industry that you lead in. And if as long as you are picking your standard of beauty over what somebody else says that you should look like, then all that would change.
No, I agree. With you.
All that would change.
A long way from everybody changing.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
But I can say this, and a friend of mine came. I remember we were talking, and I sort of it you know me, and I want to speak it out of my mouth, and I'm just like a pressure cooker. After a certain point, I gotta say something. And he kept saying, well, you know, I like short hair, but I like it straight. I like straight. I'm just like, okay, but I said, do you know what women have to go through to even get that standard of straightness? I said, because those chemicals are going into your body, but they're on regular men seeing television, they are making that their standard of beauty. You know, and what you're seeing on television is something that's not real, and they don't see that. And see, that's they're after the men. If they can get the men, they're gonna get the women, because the women, they're gonna get the women who want a man, because you have those who are gay, you know, blah blah blah. But you're gonna they're gonna get that, and so it's sort of discombobulating that when you see that. I remember we were somewhere, and the guy was just like, yeah, because, you know, I like him with that long hair, that long flowing hair. And I'm just like, who the hell are you talking about? And because it ain't nobody.
And I've heard men say, you know, I don't want no nappy-headed woman. Well,
you'll get over that.
There are a lot of people responsible, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not just the industry. It's what we do to ourselves as black women. It's what our men are doing to us. It's what, you know, there's a lot of hands in the pot, I guess. The buck doesn't just stop at one player, if that makes sense.
Right. Because look at that, the one that came from Kenya, Saputa, oh God, I don't want to butcher her name. She's a model. She's a actress. She's dark skinned. She is a beautiful girl. You know who I'm talking about?
I think you're talking about Lupita Nyong'o. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah, same person.
That's her. Yes, and we see that, but one thing I've learned, when you get stressed out and when you start doing things, it puts weight on you. It makes your hair come out. And you're wanting all this stuff, but you're stressing out the one that you say that you're loving, and then they'll get someone that looks the standard that they think that they're looking for, and they're stressing them out and trying to kill them. And it's like I say, because you have not accepted yourself.
Unfortunately, I feel that Lupita Nyong'o she's being by the market. She's being fetishized. She's been exoticized. You know, they don't accept other women that look like her. They accept her because she's exotic. Just like, you know, for a long time in the 90s, white men were attracted to Asian women because that was exotic. So they're not. That's why I said that she's their one right now. It's because men look at her and they look at her sexually, but they don't see her as a human being, and they don't see the millions of other women who look like her.
Right. And we don't see our men like that either. Diamond Hunsu. And he is the Diamond Hunsu, what's his name? The other one, he's from Africa as well. They exude that what is it? When you're confident, they exude that confidence. because they grew up with their own people. They grew up knowing who they are, and we think we're going to get with them and we're going to change them. These men are hard enough there. You are going to conform to it, or they're not going to get with you. And it's just we have got to see the beauty of ourselves. And I can't stress that enough. It's not looking a certain way.
Right.
So
right. I agree.
So
yeah.
So I really enjoyed this topic here.
Yes.
I think it was real informative. I think we had a lot of points that we needed to hit. And I hope the message was able to get out there, and I'm sure it will. And
yes.
And on that note, I think it's about time to close it out.
Yes, and I hate that. I hate we're having to leave you. Yeah. We enjoyed you. This is what we do on a daily basis. We love to talk. We grew up doing this and reasoning with each other, not just it is. Yeah, we had our stigmas. We had this color issue. That's just part of the thing. But we loved each other, and that's where I want to take out to the world is the love. It's not a sexual love. It's a what is it? Something that when you're when you're married to someone and you take that vow and you have to do it for life. That is something that you do for life. You may get mad at them, but that love is always there. And it has nothing to do with the blood link. It has to do with you making that commitment to it. And so we're going to say this, and we love you. We hope you all enjoyed yourself. And we're I'm going to turn this over to them and to end it over. But I wanted you to know that we do on our podcast, we do have a spot that you can to get on there and say what you want to say or become a part of our just to have something to say about it. And we're looking at doing once a week a live episode. So tell us what you think. And so I'm going to turn this over to James, to Tiffany, so she can turn it over to James, and we can say adieu. We love you, and you have a blessed night. Tiffany.
Thank you, Paula. Actually, she said what I was going to say. We do invite you to give your opinion. Tell your story. Tell us about what took you back to natural. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about that. As I mentioned last week, you can email any one of us by clicking on our pictures. If you go to TYES.bind.com, you can click on any of our pictures and you can email us directly, or you can comment at the bottom of any of our videos or podcasts. Just go down to the bottom, comment, leave your opinion, your point of view, your story. We love to hear from you. Thank you. Good night. James?
Yeah, I'd like to end this meeting by saying we all go through our different trials and our different tribulations through life. I think the most important thing here is really understanding who you are, and sometimes that might start with your hair, and I think it was good that we were able to go hit this subject today because, you're going to be faced with adversity no matter what you do. Even if you walk in there with a weave on, a wig on, makeup on, you're going to have problems regardless. But my main goal is to help you figure out who you want to be. Because happiness never starts from outside. Happiness starts from within. And as soon as you start to love yourself, you can actually start to love other people a little more. So, again, we love y'all, and I hope you got something from this. And definitely hit us up, email us. Like Paul said, hopefully soon down the road, not hopefully, but soon down the road, we'll be doing live shows so we can actually have people communicating with us right then and there. So we love y'all and hope to speak to you soon.
Yes. Again, we say toodles. Love you. We'll see you again next week. Bye.